The clip opens with brief, haunting footage of an unassuming vessel speeding through the southern Caribbean waters before a missile strike abruptly transforms the scene into a roiling fireball. It's jarring. One moment, a boat, the next, nothing. This sudden escalation mirrors the geopolitical tensions rising between the United States and Venezuela, a stark illustration of how aggressive anti-drug operations have turned into geopolitical flashpoints. On September 2, 2025, in a dramatic escalation, the U.S. military launched a lethal strike on a small vessel in international waters of the southern Caribbean, saying it was operated by members of the Venezuelan gang, Tren de Aragua. 11 individuals aboard were killed, and President Trump later shared footage on his social media platform, calling it, "a lot of drugs on that boat." Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the vessel as being run by a designated narco-terrorist organization, insisting the strike was a necessary deterrent in a reshaped war on drugs. It wasn't an isolated incident. The strike unfolded amid an influx of U.S. naval forces, tracked down to at least 3 warships, a missile cruiser, and even a nuclear submarine, deployed off Venezuela's coast in August 2025 under the pretext of combating regional drug trafficking. Some dubbed it gunboat diplomacy, suggesting it was as much about projecting force as it was about interdiction. Reactions varied. Venezuelan officials, led by President Nicolas Maduro and Interior Minister Diosdado Cabello, condemned the strike as an illegal massacre and extrajudicial killings, even questioning the authenticity of the video, which they claimed might be AI-generated. Internationally, the response was mixed. Former Biden-era advisor Juan Gonzalez called the strike potentially disastrous, warning that the U.S. might become ensnared in a guerrilla-style insurgency in Venezuela, far more dangerous than previous Latin American interventions. Experts questioned both the legality of the operation under international law and the wisdom of using lethal force in place of traditional interdiction tactics. The United Nations voiced concern over the geopolitical escalation, while some Latin American leaders defended the action. Trinidad and Tobago's prime minister praised the strike, bluntly stating that the U.S. should kill them all violently. Meanwhile, Mexico hosted Secretary Rubio, who reaffirmed security cooperation but emphasized respect for sovereignty. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum firmly resisted any form of U.S. military intervention on Mexican soil. From a legal standpoint, many experts emphasize the murky waters, in both a literal and legal sense. The use of a 2001 authorization for use of military force (AUMF) as a basis for targeting alleged drug traffickers stretched the law in unprecedented ways. Critics likened the strike to counterterrorism tactics misapplied to criminal activity, and questioned whether such an action violated proportionality and due process norms under both U.S. constitutional and international law. Meanwhile, the human dimension remains troublingly abstract. 11 lives were ended in seconds, and the U.S. government has yet to provide public evidence linking all individuals aboard directly to the Tren de Aragua gang. Analysts have noted that the gang's influence had already waned, with limited involvement in the global drug trade. Labeling them as terrorists may have been a strategic rhetorical escalation. Onlookers wonder what's next. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth warned that this strike will not stop, suggesting that any vessel believed to be tied to narco-trafficking or narco-terrorism could face a similar fate. This direction signals a new, far more militarized posture in the U.S. approach to drug interdiction, a shift that has significant implications for sovereignty, legality, and regional stability. Broadly, the incident can be viewed through several overlapping lenses. For Washington, it's a demonstration of resolve, an imprint of hardline tactics and zero-tolerance posture meant to deter increasingly dangerous drug flows into the U.S. For Venezuela and its allies, it's an outright provocation. The strike is seen as part of a broader campaign to destabilize Maduro's government and send a pointed message to Caracas. The strain ripples across Latin America, where the U.S.'s growing military assertiveness raises deep questions about future interventions. For international legal observers, it marks a potentially dangerous precedent, where criminal allegations become justification for lethal force without trial or evidence presented publicly. In the hours following the strike, narratives clashed, some seeing it as a hard-leverage success in combating drug trafficking, others warning it marked the militarization of what should be law enforcement. With no clear evidence presented and 11 people dead, trust erodes further in a region already fraught with instability. For viewers, the video is more than spectacle, it's a grim prompt to ask, in the pursuit of security, what price is too high? How do we balance deterrence, sovereignty, and legality in an era of unconventional threats and geopolitical brinkmanship? As this saga unfolds, the ripple effects of that fiery flash are bound to shape how wars are fought, how threats are defined, and how the world watches and reacts.